Hello, hello, my dear friends, you've reached Elena's bar. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. She'll help improve your fitness, but there's also so much more. 'Cause here are just a few things that this channel has in store. There's barre and there's Pilates and there's belly dancing too. And many styles of yoga, so I'm sure there's one for you. Then watch her practice pianist string from right within her home. She's in such peak condition, she'll outrun the metronome. Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre. They're the best place on the internet, the very best by far. It's not just the piano, but the ukulele too. The guitar and violin are even more that she can do. She does so many different things, it's hard not to lose track. I nearly didn't mention that she posts on her Substack. Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. Yet controversial topics may be brought up for discussion, but try not to provoke her or she'll swear at you in Russian. And sometimes certain topics can make quite a big impression. So remember, you take part at your own risk and your discretion. Yeah, Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. You might even meet Elena if you're quite a loyal fan. She's got a fixed male cat, but she's so desperate for a man. We've really got it all, and you couldn't ask for more. So sit right back and watch Elena shave a 3 or 4. Elena's Barre, Elena's Barre. The best place on the internet, the very best by far.
Hello, hello, my dear friends. Welcome back. Welcome to Elena's Barre and the resurgence of sanity. How are you doing, guys?
Doing great.
Great. Are you ready for today's topic?
Ready or not, here we go.
Yeah, well, guys, it looks like guys are competing who came first here. Luke Perry came first. Thank you, Luke. I am going to share more videos with Luke Perry and CDL on Instagram soon, guys. It's just a lot of work. I'm putting out a lot of shorts and clips, as you've probably noticed, so keep an eye on them. And then Tacticus is here. Great to see you too. Yeah, thank you for stopping by and saying hi to us, guys. Well, we are continuing our previous topic, and we didn't run any live stream last week because we were doing something else. And the topic of previous stream was submission to a simp, ? So who wants to lead this stream?
It was really my idea.
I know, it was your idea.
I have to give another intro.
Mm-hmm.
It was 2 weeks ago. Okay, there's a lot, especially in the TradCon, that women should submit to males. There's a lot of talk about patriarchy, that men should lead. Well, what it comes down to is dominance and submission.
Mm-hmm.
And those are really scary topics because they've taken on a connotation especially in the Christian world. They're not supposed to. Oh, dominant. People think domineering, tyrant, evil patriarchy, evil or toxic masculinity. Come on. Be serious.
This is how they've been presented. They've been presented. There is a term even in the DSM-5, toxic masculinity.
Right.
Considered masculine is considered toxic.
Let's bring it down to common sense. You have a battery in your car. That's negative and positive. No energy can flow without both. Oh, let's just talk about, spatial reality. You have up. Up only has meaning if there's a down. You need the opposites. So can a woman submit to a simp? I don't think so.
They can say, they will say. What I noticed, I rewatched some of our previous videos about feminist propaganda in particular. They can say whatever is popular to say, that they want these men who are emotionally available and all of that simpage. And usually, if you watch the movies, they show how girls fall in love with the simps. It only happens in the movies, guys, not in real life.
Yeah.
But people believe that stuff, and then women, I often hear women saying that they want simps, but in reality they end up being single.
What they say and what they do are two different things.
Exactly.
So this dominance and submission, that's really what this is about. Unfortunately, you have to go where the truth is, where people actually are willing to talk about that. And I stumbled across this channel called Integrative BDSM. Okay, and the title is in BDSM, power flows both ways. Now, I hope we don't scare people away.
Well, Steve, I can hear the entire TradCon space collectively gasping.
Hey, okay, fine, go away. We're having an intellectual discussion here, and we're going into these topics, and these guys delve into the dynamics. This is not about practices. Don't clutch your pearls, or if you do, move on. You know, we're having an adult conversation here. So last time we in the first part of this, we went through the first 12 minutes of this video. It's 19 minutes long. So, we weren't going to get done in 2 hours 2 weeks ago, so we saved some of it till today. You guys have anything more you want to say before we move into playing this thing?
Let's play it.
Okay, so we ended at 12 minutes before. I'm starting it at 11 minutes just to get a little context. And let's see what they say.
And so you're providing me with value that I don't want. And yes, you will have trouble. You can get a man, but are you going to be able to get the man that you want if you're not providing the values that he cares about?
Yeah, and that word values is, I think, central to this conversation. The sense that there is a should in what a man could provide, what a woman could provide, and that it's not just this amorphous blob of quote unquote equality, where there is no sort of hierarchy of values, where there's value in a feminine energy and there's value in a masculine energy. We've got into a society where those words themselves, like masculinity, is considered somewhat toxic because it seems to recount a time when there was a lot of misogyny. And even the modern interpretations, coming back to the whole red pill movement, where it really frankly has been very toxic. All of the you go to some of these red pill forums that talk about, well, you should be spinning plates and women are just naturally hypergamous and it's she's not your woman, it's just your turn. All of these are also very zero-sum games where it's like, well, how much value can I extract from the other person, not give to the other person? There's no building together, if anything at all.
Let's stop that.
What can
right
I
there.
get, not what responsibility can I take on?
Yeah, that.
You want to stop it right there? Yeah, I'm going to call bullshit on that.
Okay.
You don't like the truth. They start talking about the red pill. The problem is they don't like the descriptors.
Nobody likes the descriptors. Nobody. And
I can't change the truth for you. Sometimes the truth is not pleasant.
Well, I don't think they are actually talking about the facts or the truth. They just don't like how some people in the red pill community apply what they learn.
No, he said zero-sum game.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you accept the truth, you'll be a zero-sum game.
Is that true or not?
No,
No.
Well, I think I thought they were saying if each person brings value, the value is actually greater, but it's the red pill that thinks it's a zero-sum game. Did I get it wrong?
I think I go
Yes.
what you got, Steve.
that's not what I got.
Do we have to
Well,
replay? Do we have to replay it so that we can
Does
clear
it
up, or-
matter?
I would actually say that. Well, I'm getting at this right does, because if the life is not a zero-sum game, but there are very definitely large groups of people who believe it is.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
you-
I mean,
you're-
I don't believe that. It shouldn't be that way. That's a faulty thinking. But yeah, let's go back. How far back do I have to go? 30 seconds?
Let's do 45, just to be safe.
Okay, we're at 12:22. Okay, right here.
Well, how much value can I extract from the other person, not give to the other person? There's no building together of anything at all.
What can I get, not what responsibility can I take on?
Yeah, that's exactly correct. That's the central thing, is what responsibilities do I have to the other person
don't
in
think
this
we got here.
relationship? That
And
I
not
think is
only
very
that, but
central.
What?
You could
Did I go-
scroll back a little further.
Scroll
Yeah.
that further.
Mhm.
Masculine energy. We've got into a society where those words themselves, like masculinity, is considered somewhat toxic because it seems to recount a time when there was a lot of misogyny. And even the modern interpretations, coming back to the whole red pill movement, where it really frankly has been very toxic. All of the you go to some of these red pill
Yeah.
forums that talk about, well, you should be spinning plates and women are just naturally hypergamous and it's she's not your woman, it's just your turn. All of these are
Mhm.
also very zero-sum games where it's like, well, how much value can I extract from the other person?
Okay. So, first of all, he says, oh, back to the time there was a lot of misogyny. No, not really. Life was tough. Both men and women had their roles. Oh, yeah, think it was misogyny when a man had to go to work in a mine with a candle. And oh, they invented pneumatic jackhammers. It was loud. All the sound bounced off all the walls. You had no hearing protection. You were down there for 12 hours a day, weekdays, and 6 hours on Saturday. But women weren't allowed to work. Oh, please.
Right.
Yeah, she didn't have it great. Yeah, they didn't have a fancy house. Yes, she had to keep the home fires burning. And she had to cook over a wood stove and all that. But you know what? That's kind of dangerous in the mine.
Well, and
But he also
go ahead, Nick.
go ahead. Okay, well, he said toxic. Again, he's throwing out the feminist bullcrap term, toxic, and then he mentioned hypergamy. I'm pretty sure Plutarch was going to get touch on that, but
Yeah, I was actually. That's exactly
you
the
go
one I
ahead,
was
then.
going to
You
go at.
go ahead. You go ahead.
A lot of people really do not like this idea, and it is a description. Hypergamy is a descriptive word to
Right.
describe women, and everyone, when you bring this up, they just bristle at this idea that women might be hypergamous. I had a Twitter interaction earlier this week, and we were talking about something, and the guy says, "Oh, you're trying to buy hypergamy insurance." And we were talking about some red pill interaction, as if now this is another red pill guy who was saying it. It's like, as if there is something you can do or say that will convince a woman to override her hypergamy for you. I'm sorry, men. It cannot be done. It is built into the base wiring of women. And so, when the red pill talks about hypergamy, men the world over get up in arms over it. And these could be men who understand women really well. Okay. But they do not want to accept that a woman might, of her own agency and accord, say, I've got something better. Bye. Now, these guys, I'm sure they have their various ways of dealing with a woman that leaves, just like the red pill does. They will talk prescriptions all day long. It's the description that women can and will do this that drives everyone insane.
Well, they are categorizing the red pill. Hypergamy. It's not your woman; it's your turn. And then
Well, but isn't it
extrapolating.
what red pill kind of categorized itself, when it was saying that it used to say to men that it's not your woman, it's your turn. And
Those
I'm
things are
also,
all
honestly, I'm also having trouble with that phrase, honestly, because it
No,
just,
all
it's
women do.
actually, and it's also not meant. That's also a short way of explaining something that's to someone who's new to the red pill. It actually goes deeper than it's not your woman; it's just your turn.
it's
And
not
there's strategies
literal.
available, but at the same time, you can't control them. But
Right. Well, I think what Elena is railing against is the fact that because not all women will always, choose to leave the moment a better option is that, a lot of women have problems with that idea of it's, she's not yours, it's just your turn, because women desperately want to believe that they are that loyal, that they can't, that they can overcome their base programming.
they develop.
Oh yeah.
So
I
Steve
mean,
had this thing. There's a short Elena made. There's a short that Elena made about Steve saying about this rationalization that women do, this narrative that they have to justify leaving their man in their head, in their mind.
yes. I mean, he is absolutely 100% faithful under her emotions of thinking faithfully.
under your current emotions.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes. Okay. It's like whenever a woman says, I will love you forever, right now, just add right now. Based on her current feelings, it's like that can never happen. Or, so all this, she's not your woman, it's just your turn. Okay, there's great. Don't take it at its superficial level. It's a philosophical statement. You have to understand it, that it gives it, trying to teach men you cannot control her. You cannot have an assured outcome. If her emotions change, her actions will change. So you cannot distill the red pill down to a simple cookie cutter rules based approach. You have to kind of understand the nuances and dynamics. And these guys, they are kind of distilling down the red pill to a series of prescriptions and then saying, well, those guys just believe it's a zero sum game. You know what? A lot of red pill guys do. But that's not necessarily, just because there's a correlation here, does not mean that the beliefs are causing that belief in zero sum. A lot of the red pill guys don't go and understand this stuff on a deeper level. They're just applying rules.
Well, remember our episode on Dalrock? 10 years ago, he said there's 3 camps in the Manosphere Red Pill community. You had the Hearties, right? Royce Hearty, the PUA group, anyways. You had the traditionalist, that's kind of kind of where we're at, I guess. That's where Dalrock was. And then you have the MGTOWs, men going their own way, or men's rights activists. He kind of groups them together. Not all three have the same, not two out of the three, at least one out of the three doesn't do plate spinning. You can argue the MGTOWs, some of them just give up entirely, so they don't do plate spinning either. And the zero-sum game, I mean, I guess if you take the Nietzschean part of philosophy, but that's not all red pill. So.
Well, the Nietzscheans would like, I think the Nietzscheans would like it to be, because it fits their grander life philosophy. But there's so many counter examples that you kind of have to look at it and go, guys. What I think is interesting, you listed the three different sort of groups. All three of those groups emphasized different aspects of the red pill. Okay. The true power of the red pill is learning how to integrate all three. Hard to do. And I'm not sitting here saying that, the three of us are somehow perfect at it, because we're not. I mean, literally there's three dudes who've been through divorce on your screen here.
You don't need, I mean, you're going to have to find your own way. You really have to take this stuff in. You have to think about it, process it, then observe other people outside of your experience, then reflect on your experience and come up with a working idea yourself. I mean, it's, there's lots of stuff that I disagree with on the red pill. There's a lot of stuff I agree with. Pretty much everything they say has an element of truth, maybe a majority of truth, and is actually consistent with Christianity. Because I accept the descriptors as being true. Now, how does this how does Christianity in the Bible reflect these same things? Where can I find these things instead of negating it with the modern feminist U.S. evangelical put women on a pedestal mentality? I've just learned to reject that. Comment as you please.
Well, you just have to return to more classical interpretations of the Bible and those passages that are the silent verses, the ones that you don't really hear preached on, that are omitted, that talk about, women and Ecclesiastes, and there's, Solomon had like 1,000 women. He couldn't find a good one among them. You could see things with the weaker vessel in First Peter chapter 3. You can see why they're barred from teaching, which is a cult, and how women are led into deceit. You find that in to Titus, the epistle to Titus.
Well,
I mean, it's all over. 1 Corinthians 11.
Nick,
talks about head. What's that?
Well, I just want to say that there is this, and I'm sure it's happened throughout history, but it's pretty bad right now. There is this belief amongst people everywhere that the current thing has all the answers to all their questions. Right? Now, we are Christian. We're everyone's going to say, "Oh, we'll go to the Bible." Okay, Bible has lots of good answers in it, but it doesn't have. It doesn't describe. What is the example you use? It doesn't tell you how to be a doctor, right? It doesn't tell you how to. Right. So you have to go. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have to go somewhere else. You have to look, and what I'm trying to say is that the Bible doesn't have all the answers. The red pill doesn't have all the answers. You're going to have to do some work here, fellas.
Well, to build on that, does the Bible interpret itself?
Analogy of the analogy of faith, where you go to more clear parts, interpret less clear parts. Also, you can see where, okay, he's quoting something. Well, where does that quote? What are they saying in that context? Where does the quote come from, and where is the context he was quoting that from? So, yeah, I mean, in some way, it's meant to be interpreted, but there's always a rational mind involved.
Okay, so I, this is a good question because it's kind of a philosophical difference between Catholics and Protestants. Does the Bible interpret itself?
Yes
Yeah,
and no.
I agree with what Nick said. Yes.
There is a meaning. There's a proper meaning apart from me, but I can only know that through using my own mind.
And you have to know what sections clarify
Right.
others' previous sections. So
Correct.
it takes an outside authority, a leader, to interpret the Bible. So you can't just read the Bible and pull up a section and say, "Oh, it says this," and just take that as just superficial and implement it. There are nuances, there are reinterpretations, there is allegory or allegory, I guess. There are parables. Parables are fully true, but they're not literal. So you have to look to an outside source, probably somebody more knowledgeable than you, and someone who has an understanding of history and how this has been interpreted. And you can't just look through your modern perceptions and the lens of modernity to say, "Oh, this is what it means."
Well, but isn't it what the Bible chicks are doing? They're just taking some parts of the Bible that resonate with them.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's the magic book. Like you open it to a certain spot.
Yeah.
So, what verse am I land on today? Oh, Judas hung himself.
Right.
Should I implement that? No.
Okay, for example, we all would agree that we are anti-slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
To a
Yes.
certain extent.
Okay, I mean,
Johnny Reb down
the
there.
modern world, yes, we are anti-slavery. That shouldn't be done.
It still exists, though.
But I don't understand that. Does the Bible condemn slavery?
No.
Okay, so in the ancient world, we're coloring our view of how we perceive things by this idea that slavery is evil. Now, I'm not advocating slavery. I really am not. But I'm saying neither does God condemn slavery. And there are essences of truth in the concept of slavery, property ownership of another person. Allegiance to another person, obedience, hierarchy. And that even relates over to the husband-wife relationship. Now, they can be equal in the eyes of God. And I think the Bible says slaves, it doesn't diminish slave soul or their worth in the eyes of God. They were just at a different position. So there are
And
truths
sometimes they
that
entered
we
into that
discard.
relationship willingly. Some of them entered into that. The Bible describes where their situation is better as that, and they want to be that willingly. I don't know, it blows the modern mind, but sometimes it's a compassion to take care of somebody like that who might not necessarily be able to do everything that they need to do on their own. It could be an institution of compassion.
Wasn't
can
that
be.
frequently done as like indentured servitude, where you would frequently something would happen in your life, you lost everything, you needed somebody to help you get to take
How do
care
you
of you.
think so many people came here? White people came to the United States. They were, you can call them indentured servants, but they were slaves,
Well,
at least
true
for a
enough.
time period. Yeah. Yeah.
There is human trafficking that's going on in the world.
Oh,
There is-
God, I
well,
mean,
I don't want to go into that, but we just in our working world we talk about, are
Yeah.
you a wage slave? Yeah, I am. I have to work for my company. They're the master. They govern what I'm allowed to say and not say, what I'm allowed to do and not do. They are in a position of authority over me. There's a hierarchy. And if I don't perform, I'm out. Isn't that kind of have a lot of the aspects of slavery?
yes, working for somebody else means you are submitting yourself to that person. That could be your manager. You know, if it's a small business, it could be the owner. Look, and a lot of people say, "Oh, well, I'm just going to go work for myself."
Mhm.
I have news for you if you do that. The customer who's paying you becomes your master. There is no version of this life where you are truly free unless you're willing to go walk into the woods and live off the land and cut yourself off from people and never use any of the services and products of society. Yeah, a few people do that. It isn't you. It isn't me. You know,
Until there's something they can't fix.
and then yeah, exactly. Then they come back out of the woods looking for help.
Mhm.
And okay, this idea of in the past, men had all the power, so there was misogyny. No,
No.
no, men valued their wives. Yes, there are exceptions. There always are exceptions. Oh, under slavery. Oh, the master always abused his slaves.
No.
It happened, but remember, a slave cost a lot of money. He was a piece of valuable farm equipment. Do you see farmers running their, spending $300,000 on a tractor and then just whipping that tractor and not changing the oil, not tending to the tractor? No, that piece of that allows you to do your whatever your endeavor is. You care for that. And I'd say the majority of owners of slaves in the past probably cared enough to feed, house, for the well-being. Yes, there was discipline. Yes, this is a boundary. Yes, you can't escape. Yeah, all that stuff. But it wasn't necessarily tyranny. Now, with all that said, I'm still not advocating us returning to that.
I'm not either. I'm gonna get fill up my cup of coffee on.
Mhm.
There's a general in the Civil War, Ulysses S. Grant. Most people do not know this. He had slaves. He was married to a woman whose family was deeply invested in slave culture and owning slaves. And when you read about it, I mean, everyone focuses on the fact that that he was deeply conflicted about the concept of slave ownership himself, and he didn't really like it. What they don't focus on is that he actually treated his slaves very, very well. He gave them high quality food. He gave them high quality clothes. He didn't overwork them or overburden them. and from by all accounts, neither did the family of the woman he married. They didn't overburden their right. So again, we're not saying slavery is good. And if you go, I mean, we're talking about Ulysses S. Grant here, you know, one of the top generals of the North in the Civil War. This institution was not solely of the South.
Well, it brings to mind, okay, this person, this slave, and really this wife belongs to me. Therefore, I'm going to care for this person, and look out for their well-being. That's the responsibility that comes with the authority. So
Yes.
slaves belonged and were cared for. The Irish, on the other hand, damn, they don't belong to me. They're a dime a dozen. Put the Irish down in the bottom of the ship and drop cotton bales down. I'm keeping my property on top so they don't get killed.
Okay, guys, I have a few ideas here. So, women today, they cost more than a slave to maintain, and they don't produce any value, because at least a slave, you maintain a slave, he did some work, he or she, right? Women don't. And yet they don't want to belong, you know, they don't want to belong to the master. Let's say they don't want to belong to the man. They want to belong to themselves or whatever.
Well, okay. Let's roll that back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Most women would provide significant value. Steve was talking about this at the beginning of the episode. They would, Steve, what'd you call it? The home fires, you know, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they would keep the children clothed, fed. They keep the husband fed. They would keep the house in order and clean. And because when you're a guy working 12 hours a day, and I frequently do 12-hour work days in my job, you don't have time to, on your own, take care of all of these details around the house. And look, I do not work a backbreaking job like these guys did, and I don't have the time or the energy to take care of the house. Okay, I just don't. Now, I'm married to the person on the bottom of your screen here, and she does a lot of that. Very useful, very helpful. And that was the trade. That was the trade that women made in exchange for the guy going out and, I'll just say it, destroying himself, physically destroying himself,
Mm-hmm.
in exchange for the resource units we call money, so that she could do those things. And it has only really been in the past 50 to 60 years where we have had this ability for women to say, no, I can go off and I can make my own money and I don't need a man. And then they do. Like, okay.
Yeah, well, if they do, then they end up being single. Then don't whine, suck it up and buckle up, lady. Keep up the great work, I guess. You know?
Yeah, that's future.
Stop whining.
Women don't think about the future. They just think about the present. How do they feel right now?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, this is why they need a master, because they can't think ahead. You know, they can't think about the future. They need somebody who would think about the future for them.
You know what? We're talking about dominance and submission. Dominance an evil thing?
No.
No, it's that guy, typically the man, who has the authority and the responsibility in thinking for the future, for the well-being, to navigate through life. You need somebody to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you choose a partnership type relationship, we both get to decide equally. You know what? You're going to go through life flying by the seat of your pants, basing based on the whims of her emotions at any point in time. There's no future thinking there, or minimal. When I say no, and okay, stereotypes, generalizations. What's generally true is generally true. It's not always true. Okay. So, I know of an exception. Okay. I grant your exception. It still doesn't change what's generally true.
Yeah.
Look, ladies. Elena can think into the future. I've seen her do it. Okay? It's just not the mode she likes to operate in. That's what I'm here for in her world. I think about the future so she doesn't have to.
Well, and you also think about the big picture. Sometimes I'm too focused on like what's happening now, and I don't see from a different angle.
Well, I actually want to make a point here. If go back to what I was saying about the tasks that women would do, they'd keep the house clean, they'd keep the children fed and educated, they'd keep the clothes clean for the guy. These are all very short-term tasks. Okay.
Yeah.
What the types of tasks that men need women to help with often tend to be very short-term. Would you like me to play this back further into history? Like, there has never been a point in human history, recorded or unrecorded, where human women have ever really needed to have this broad, long-term thinking, except for one. And that was the ability to select a mate to take care of these. In that case, she needs broad, long-term thinking. So her selectors are, and her concerns are all based around, how do I select for this one long-term problem that I have?
Well, the family were also involved too, generally speaking.
Mhm.
Yes.
You wonder why.
Her father
Yes.
specifically would have been heavily involved in the process of her picking a guy. Oh, look, the guy with the long-term thinking is sitting there evaluating her different suitors, was the old word, and going, not that one, not that one, not that one. This guy, okay, let's investigate further. That is so. What you're seeing now is the underdeveloped version of those selectors in women without fathers. Like, they know they need to think long-term about men. They know what kind of man they want to be, but they only know it from a base feeling level. They know that they want a guy who can, they know they want Genghis Khan because Genghis Khan can protect them. But they don't really know what a lot of men know about Genghis Khan, is that Khan is going to leave you and he's not going to take care of you.
Well, it sounds like you're saying that a woman shouldn't judge her future based on her current tingles.
Yes, correct.
But I can get with Chad Thundercock, but why isn't he sticking around? He's just pumping and dumping.
Well, Nick, have you seen the latest controversy with Elon Musk and
yeah.
Well, right, she's decided, because all women have decided that if a man sticks their dick in her, he must want to marry her. And so now she's suing him for some large number of dollars because he didn't want to marry her. And by all accounts, she's batshit insane.
Well, and they have, all of them have the golden pussy syndrome.
Yes, they do.
They are being told that they can sell their pussy for the highest price possible out there. Why do you think they believe all of this bullshit?
Right? And her pussy is better than any other woman's pussy on the planet.
Biologically the same.
But it's pussy primacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this women I don't think understand that they naturally want to submit. I mean, this Ashley chick is basically begging to let, or to begging Elon to let her submit to him. She's literally suing for the right to submit to him. I don't know if
Yeah,
these
well,
women
it's
understand that.
interesting. She picked the wealthiest man on the planet, you know, to
Of course she
submit
did.
I don't see that particular drive to submit to an average
Guys,
man out
hypergamy
there.
doesn't exist, right?
Mhm. Yeah, right. The wealthiest
Yes.
man.
Well. Also, if you Rollo did a Twitter post this morning. He was talking to the Ivory Tower academics. About there's this video of all these women gathered outside of Luigi's.
Hybristophilia.
Yeah, talking about hybristophilia. There are
Yeah.
things that the academics, there are truths that the academics refuse to talk about. And so those truths come out in the red pill. They come out even here in this video. Now, right now, we're busy disagreeing with their take on the red pill because, well, we're a bunch of red pill guys who've studied this stuff and we have issue with that. But my point being is that some of the stuff, if you go back to our prior video, some of the stuff these guys were saying, we were just kind of like, yeah, no, they're right. That's, because the truths of female nature cannot be hidden under academics. So
Just open your eyes to see, but nope, we're gonna
Okay,
close them.
let's continue. I mean, I appreciate these guys criticizing the red pill because we need to be tested. We need to
yes,
ponder. Okay, am I right? How are not that these guys are wrong? How are they wrong? What minor point is missing? We might be in general disagreement, and then taking some trivial thing and throwing them under the bus. I'm not going to do that. So let's continue.
Person, not give to the other person. There's no building together of anything at all.
What can I get? Not what responsibility can I take on?
Yeah, that's
Right.
that's exactly right. That's the central thing, is what responsibilities do I have to the other person in this relationship? That
And
I
not
think is
only
very
that, but
central.
the eagerness to take on responsibility. The best relationship I've been in, it felt like we were almost competing to give more to the other person. There was almost an ongoing game of figuring out who can get the one up of who's given more.
It's like magic.
And yeah. I will say too, on the notion of value, I think there's an interesting thing. I always refer back, as when I had this conversation recently with another friend, to a book called His Needs, Her Needs. Pretty old book now, but I think it delineates something really interesting. He claims that the top 5 needs for men typically are sexual fulfillment and eroticism, recreational companionship or best friend, physical attractiveness, a good-looking wife, domestic support, peace and quiet, and admiration for someone to be proud of him. For women, he says the top 5 needs are affection, loving kindness, love languages, intimate conversation, non-sexual intimacy, emotional and intellectual intimacy, honesty and openness, trustworthiness and safety.
Yeah, he's going to dismiss it in a minute. We got to keep going.
Okay.
You'll have a chance.
All right.
Financial support, which is security, independence, and protection, and family commitment, someone who will be a good father. Now, whether you agree in particular with those, though I think I resonate with them pretty strongly. I think a lot of people I've talked to resonate with those pretty strongly. But whether or not you resonate with them in particular, I think the really interesting concept there is whatever your top 5 needs are, in many ways, you have the right to ask for 5 needs in return if you're providing 5. So if I'm going to be effective.
Okay, now that's a good stopping point.
I can hear the Christians now screaming over the well, if, because they're going to say, well, that's just they use different language than this, but that's just lawyering. They get 5, you get 5, they get 3, you get 3. Okay, church specifically. the reason men are doing this is because, particularly in the church, you've come around and you've said, no, you have to be servant leaders to the women. You have to give them whatever they ask for.
And not
Thi-
ask for anything in return.
And and you don't get to ask for anything reserved. He gets to decide. The key point here is she gets to decide what you get in return. I'm not saying that what this guy's saying is the quote unquote right way to do it, but at least he's saying, look, if I give 5, I should have the right to expect some equal number
Having
or
a
value.
backbone, having some fucking standards for yourself.
Exactly. You know,
That's not
This-
wrong. But he also
this
says this love
builds-
language is crap. That love language is crap. No, don't buy
Well,
into
it's
that
the
shit.
book that he
Yeah.
was referring to. Yeah, I agree with
That's
you.
the chick. That's the Christian chick crack book
Yeah.
to beat men over
Right.
the head with.
I think we agree on that.
Yeah.
But back to something he said in the first part. Go back and watch our first stream on this. They spent a lot of time talking about an exchange of values.
That's fine.
No, relationships are not
responsibility
really
too.
transactional.
Yeah, they are.
Well, okay. We can
Somewhat.
debate
Duties.
They're
duties.
somewhat transactional, but not scorekeeping. But the
No.
concept is, as the man, you have to bring value to your mate. As a woman, you have to bring value to your mate. And so when this entitlement mentality exists on either side, they just take without an idea that they need to give value. And so that leads down the path to scorekeeping. If I give you these 5, I get these 5. Yeah, that's a little bit too far, but there does need to be an exchange of value.
This is why I see so many frustrated women, especially at the men who are spinning plates. And then we got a comment from Tacticus, quite a few comments, guys, we've been missing here, where he says that spinning plates, it depends on the term. Even spinning plates is just dating and seeing many women, or hookups, sleeping with everyone you date. Yeah.
well, what Tacticus is talking about here is the idea, and Nick has talked about this extensively, that just because you go on a date doesn't mean you have to pork her. Okay?
Mhm.
You don't have to stick your dick in it. And there's actually a good reason not to stick your dick in it. Go back to what I was talking about with Elon. You stick your dick in crazy,
Yeah.
you can end up, and you don't have the understanding that she's crazy yet because you haven't spent enough time to unmask her. Well, you can end up in a world of hurt. Now, Elon can
You can be in
afford
my
the
situation.
yeah, exactly. Well, and Elon could afford the world of hurt. He can afford to buy her out. But the vast majority of you men out there, myself included, and Steve and Nick, are not Elon. Okay, so
There's
the
an old
Go ahead.
saying, an old adage. When you sow the wind, you reap the whirlwind.
yeah, don't do that, guys. Guys,
Oh,
for
okay.
no other reason, don't do it because it's bloody fucking expensive.
Okay, I have
And
a
you have,
question.
and you have to do this even with the church, the so-called pure church girls too.
Oh,
They're gonna try to say, "Why wait? Let's just go get married and have a bunch of kids." Well, then you find out a year or two later, holy Nikes.
what I would say to that is church girls, particularly church girls who are doing that kind of stuff, they are insane, and they are there at looking for the church to be a crutch to cover for their insanity and get through it. Like these girls are nuts. Church girls can be some of the horniest sluts you've ever met, and they're looking for the church to cover for their sins.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've seen so many frustrated women who were saying that, oh, these evil men who spin plates, don't give anything to them because you're not getting anything in return. There is some truth in what these guys are saying, because I've seen it like on
Well,
both sides.
they're not getting What are they not getting in return? That this is coded female language. So let's
Yeah.
unpack it. Elon is not saying that he will not financially provide for these kids, but what are these women not getting? They're not getting Elon. Okay? They're not getting him. And the covert contract that's at play here goes back to what I said at the very beginning of the video or the stream. They expect that if you stick your dick in it, it's you break it, you bought it. You used it, you bought it.
Yeah.
They expect that they're going to get bought, that they're going to get taken. Okay.
Well, maybe if they did it to an average man, he probably would have no other option, right?
No. The complaint about spinning plates is exactly because the man isn't taking them personally and focusing solely on them. That's why they don't like it. They don't like it because you, the man, are not doing what they have determined that you should be doing. You should be taking them and taking, they're asking, that's what I said. This Ashley chick is demanding that she be allowed to submit to Elon, and he's saying no. That's why they don't like spinning plates. That's what makes spinning plates so powerful. I'm not commenting on the morality of it right now. I'm just saying that the reason that it works on women is exactly what Tacticus says here. Spinning
game. It's part of game.
This is dread. Spinning plates is dread game.
Mhm.
That's what it is. We can have a long-winded academic moral argument over whether or not that sort of game is good. Dread game is pretty dark stuff, but it works. And so teaching it to men is not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, but it's not the only thing that men like. Look, most men are not going to be able to pull it off. Like if they have no,
maybe.
That's. I mean, in the case of Elon, yeah, he has the money to.
Yeah, exactly.
He has the money to make as many mistakes with it as he wants. The purpose of teaching men is not to say that, oh, you're going to magically just pull it off like Elon does. The purpose of teaching it to men is because they need something. Okay. All of dread game, all of plate spinning is really just men saying, you don't have the sole right to me. Because
yes, and spinning plates therefore exhibits dominance.
Yes.
And so that just by him doing that, I don't need you.
Mhm.
I'm my own man. Then by him asserting that, whether the way he's doing it is moral or not is immaterial. He's choosing the dominant position. That puts her in the submissive position to seek to please him, seek to acquire his resources, his loyalty, and all that. And it's the proper dynamic.
I agree with you there, Steve. It's just the problem is when we promote polygyny or polyamorous relationships, only a few men will get all of the women. Most of the men will be left with nothing.
That's how it normally is. Christianity's the one religion that really changed that, but that's the normal course of the world left unto itself.
You're arguing against. You're saying that that's bad, and at an academic level, we can go through history and we can point out all of the places where that's been demonstrably bad. But remember, those places exist for us to point out. Genghis Khan, the example I used at the beginning, is one such example of a man who had. They estimate that a quarter of the Han or the Han or I think it's the Han Chinese has Genghis Khan DNA to this day. a quarter of an entire ethnic group has the DNA of one man in it.
In
Okay.
India too. India, last name Khan. You know where that comes from?
Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy raped and pillaged his way across the sorry, YouTube. Or across the Siberian steppes. Like his DNA is everywhere.
Oh, you might even find him somewhere in Russia, in the eastern parts of Russia, because we
Yes, you
have
will.
a lot of
Yep.
ethnicities, and yeah.
Right. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that it took Christianity in specific was a civilizing force, because what it did, and I actually have this tweet saved. It was Devin Erickson did a great breakdown of the innovation that Christianity brought to this space. Was it said, no, we must intentionally enforce one man, one woman, because by doing so, that
Preserve civilization.
well, it specifically what happened in this is described even in the Bible. The Bible has this, particularly in the Old Testament. What's described is you have an excess of men, and then a war would start. Why would that war start? Because there's an excess of men on both sides, and they have nothing. They will never get a woman. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so the only way to get rid of all this excess testosterone is to go out on a field of battle, kill it. Okay. The innovation of Christianity was to come up with a way to convince women that it was in their best interest to not chase that top dog.
Yeah.
But what it really did, and this is what I liked about what Devin said, was what it really did is it convinced the average women that the average man was her superior.
Yeah, but it makes sense because he is her superior. He is stronger. He can do more work, and he can take care of her.
I didn't say that it was wrong and that it wasn't known before. What Christianity came up with was a set of coercive, for lack of a better term, policies and explanations to say, women, this is why the man is superior to you.
Yeah, and it also saved a lot of men's lives.
Sure.
Because otherwise they would have been killed in war.
I mean, they still were, but
yeah.
But society has evolved.
They had something to fight
Things
for
are
too.
different now. Oh yeah, one man, one woman. It actually works. And that's the new covenant. That's something that was established with under Jesus Christ.
No, I'd say it's creational.
Well, it was creational. Then we went to the polygamy in the Old Testament, and that was rampant. And that is human nature under those conditions. But when Christ came, he reminded us of how it was in the garden, and he said this is the way it should be.
Yeah.
So, and I agree with that.
That's the way it should be, but it's not always what is. That's the problem. So,
but there, remember, we're still talking about dominance and submission. The man needs to take this leadership role. And modern men with the woman working outside the home, chances are, in most cases, she is more submissive to her boss at work than she is to you at home. This is a travesty.
Yep.
It doesn't work because, I mean, women, I worked in an office. Oh, dear God, the women cheated. Just and
with his boss, right?
No, not necessarily. No, almost actually. With the boss is kind of a canard, because it's too risky for the boss in many cases.
Yeah, true.
There's a reason why the actual meme is Kevin from accounting.
Yeah.
Move laterally in the business so that there's no chain of command issues. To use the military explanation of it, right? And frankly, your boss. So for women, remember, these are women who don't want to be under the authority of men, but they want to work, so they have to go and work under the authority of somebody. So either their boss is a woman that they hate, or their boss is a man who has the same or more authority than the man at home. And so they don't really want the boss, but Kevin in accounting has none of that, and he's hot. It looks like the perfect thing, the setup. Go ahead.
And he probably has more prestige
Yes.
in his position. So it's lateral, sloped up.
Well, it's always sloped up with women. I think Homath makes that perfectly clear. But yeah, it's Kevin from accounting, but understand that Kevin from accounting is a 35, 40-year-old dude. Maybe he's got salt and pepper hair. He's got that chiseled jaw and the constant 5 o'clock shadow. Right. That guy. And he's working, and he's probably not, let's say Kevin from accounting, he's probably not doing the day-to-day accounting. He probably has a team working for him at that point in his career. He's got underlings. That's catnip to a woman. They cannot help themselves around a guy like that. So it's, we're talking about cheating at work here. It's almost never with their direct boss. I'm not saying that it's never, because saw that too, but that's actually not how it usually goes. It's usually with somebody else who has more status and prestige. And I'll guarantee that the person that they're cheating with you at work has more status and prestige than you do.
Well, should we keep going?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay.
Affectionate and intimate and give great conversation and be trustworthy and honest and open and financially supportive and a good father, then I can ask for sexual fulfillment and a hot partner and a fun partner and whatever. And I make the case in the book that one of the big issues with the red pill is they say, well, I want you to give me sexual fulfillment and recreational companionship and be fun and agreeable and physically attractive and cook and clean for me and admire me. And in return, I'm just giving you financial support.
If
What
if you
else?
do that,
That's not true.
Well-
Sure. But I'm not.
That's
Okay.
a lie.
Okay, we need to stop that.
That's not true. May some red pill guys do that? Sure. I'm sure you can find them, but no. That is
Go-
not true.
Well,
Go
and
back
look
to
how
Dara.
they equalize. Okay, they want they say that financial support, and based on what he said before, if I get 5, I must give 5, right? Or if I get 3 only, I give 3. So based on that logic, when he says, well, when women provide a man with being attractive, with being submissive, with being a good house person, cleaning the house and taking care of the household, only a man only provides you with financial support. It's not enough. So that sets a standard for women that, okay, if I do all of these things for my man, I can expect 5 values from him, and financial is only one of them, but it's a big one.
Elena, you took the bait. You took the bait. What he did there was he did a parody of the red pill. He basically erected a straw man, which is not true. And you took the straw man as reality and you reacted to that. This is a straw man. No, red pill does not believe that. He erected a straw man in order to demonize the red pill. The tradcons and the Christians do that all the time. Don't fall for it.
Yes.
Guys,
I know it's
those
not.
irony.
I know it's not true, but
No.
also I
Hey,
also
quiet,
know
quiet.
how women are going to take
Spurg. Stop the Spurg. Guys, there's a lot of time I spend in the background. You guys don't see this. stopping her from immediately going to her keyboard on her phone and start hammering out, the latest response to controversy of the hour. Okay, you guys just saw that happen in real time. This is why I want to pull this out. Okay. Sometimes I'm not around to catch her before she goes to the keyboard. Okay. I have a job. I have other things I have to do. Yes. So Elena, look at how the three of us said, wait, no. That's not the red pill. And then,
I know it's not the red pill,
Right.
but the message is still out there, and women
Yeah.
are going to take it exactly how I'm telling you they're going to take it. If they see
Yep.
that,
Yeah, women will, yes. But you're not, that's, we're all saying here is that's not the red pill. He set up the straw man and then you started attacking the straw man. Okay. That's what Steve said. You took the bait.
okay,
He got you to accept his framing of the red pill.
I see. Okay.
Okay. Guys, what you just saw there is a little microcosm of my daily life.
Okay, let's keep
So-
going. Let's keep going.
Now she wants to go.
The lesson here is the straw man is not real. It's just
And-
bait on the hook.
Well, and I mean,
So
The
if
other-
they
the other
are
lesson-
if they start saying something that is not true, you just say that no, it's bullshit. It's not happening here. It's not what red pill is about.
The easiest thing to do is just laugh at them.
Okay.
yeah, just laugh. Because they're being
You don't
silly.
have to refute them. You just laugh and say, "Whoa, I think that's hilarious."
Right. The idea that you're going to convince somebody to agree with you using a point by point refutation. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the fact that you're that logical, but humans don't work that way.
Most people aren't that way.
Yeah. So point by point refutations don't work because understand what's really happening here. He is betraying a shallow understanding of the red pill.
Yes.
When somebody betrays that they don't understand something, let them keep going. What's the old Sun Tzu saying? It was Napoleon. Never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Never interrupt the debate opponent when they're showing you that they don't understand a topic. Another term for this is rope-a-dope. You sucker them in. You build up this story, and then you just drop that one fact on them, and their whole case falls apart.
Mm.
Okay.
True enough, but this man is not my enemy.
No. Debate
I have
opponent.
more in common with him than I do in differences. Okay, that's just the reality of being a man.
Yeah.
You're gonna quibble and you're gonna hash out the details in maybe somewhat of an animated way, adversarial. But that doesn't mean he's your enemy or you think he's entirely wrong. He's just wrong around the edges. And he'd probably
Well,
say
but
the
then-
same thing about me.
But
Okay,
then
fine.
What's wrong with disagreeing point by point, like you told me that if he's not your enemy, you broadly agree.
It's
on
not
things.
worth it to spend your time doing point by point refutations with somebody you mostly agree with. Nick and I and Steve have talked about this before with the church, particularly the PCA and OPC are but well known for being lawyers when it comes to church doctrine. And they spend so much time arguing amongst themselves over the finer points of doctrine and theology that they lose sight of that the church has lost sight of its mission in life.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, here's another simple red pill way of understanding that. If you start battling him on his points, you are accepting his framing of the issue.
Yep.
That puts him in the offensive position and you in the defensive position. So now you're automatically submitting to his framing. When you choose not to engage with him on that battlefield, to instead laugh at him or say, no, here's what I think, and not address him point by point. Okay, now I'm not accepting his framing. So we're still equals.
I see.
Yeah. See, what's interesting here to you red pill watchers, you just saw how desperate women are to submit. They will run into submission. Just like that. Just like what Elena did there. She immediately gave up frame in order to spurg out and do the point by point refutation. Now, I'm not saying that she's submitting to this guy. We're talking about a frame battle here. But women, when they encounter frame, they're even if they hate everything about you, their default mode is to accept your frame. This is something that you red pill guys can use to your advantage. How many times have you guys been out there and you'll say something offhandedly red pill, and the guy, I'm not talking, I don't think this applies to guys too, will just immediately start telling you about, oh, you're wrong, and
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't think about it. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I guess that, yeah.
Right.
I'm expecting them to be unplugged. They're not.
Right. And so you'll say it offhand, and then they'll start immediately trying to refute you. But they've already accepted your argument in order to refute them.
Frame control is dominance.
Bingo. If you have no frame control, you have no dominance. And if you have no dominance, no woman, none. There's not a woman on this planet who's going to respect you. Now, that does not, I want to make this very clear to the men out there, that does not mean that the woman will not choose you or stay with you for a while. Why? Because you might be doing other things for her that she values. But we've talked about this before, if she does not respect you, she will leave at some point.
The disrespect leads to contempt.
Exactly. Always. You can delay that for a time by offering other things. Randy Couture got pitched to the curb by I think she's an edited 8. I don't think she's all 100% natural, but okay. But there's a lot of guys out there who'd say that Mindy Robinson is smoking hot. Okay, he got discarded. We're talking about Randy Couture, huge MMA fighter, rich. He's not Elon rich, but he is rich enough that there is no worry. There's no concern about financial resources for almost anything she might want. She ditched him. Okay. Trying to buy this hypergamy insurance. When you try and replace frame with something else, you're trying to buy hypergamy insurance. It doesn't work.
Rich and roided doesn't always, because you can't, rich and roided don't protect you from hypergamy 100% of the time. It might help.
Well,
but
it delays it. It delays it. Okay. But if she has no respect for you, that contempt will come at some point.
Okay, let's keep going.
I'm going to give you true, meaningful, felt affection. I'm not going to give you intimate and open, honest conversation. I'm not going to be trustworthy, and I'm not going to really be a great father. I'm not going to commit to that family dynamic. Now, in return, the feminist issue is they say, hey, I want you to be affectionate, and you need to be intimate, and you need to be in touch with your emotions, and open and honest and trustworthy, and you need to give me financial support and be a good father, and you have to support our children and all this stuff. And in return, maybe I'll be physically attractive. I'll show up and look pretty. And that prettiness also, by the definition of my female friends, I'm not submitting to your definition of that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So both sides, the issue is that you're not exchanging value in the way the other person is defining value. You're exchanging your values and expecting, well, if I give you these things, then you're going to give me, like, the complete failure to accept that the other person may need other things. I mean, love languages, as much as you can argue even with the scientific validity of the concept, the reason it's such an appealing idea is just to say, look, maybe other people get value from other types of affection. Get out of your head a little bit and say, oh, hey, maybe the thing that makes my partner feel really loved is when I say something, not just when I do something to take care of her. Now, it doesn't matter whether that's literally true or not. What matters is that you have the internal mental model that someone else's receipt of value may be different than your receipt of value, and thus the way you have to give value has to be different. And so I think that applies on several different levels. I think.
Okay, I have to stop it there. He's talking about the other person. Women receive value differently. The value to a woman is different than the value to a man. Men and women are not the same. She's not going to appreciate what you do for her, because if someone did that for you, you would appreciate it. And to all you nice guys out there, by being nice, by continually giving in order to eventually receive, it doesn't work. She's not going to get it. Okay, if you're continually giving in order to get something eventually, you're not in a dominant position. You're being needy. Man, needy is just, oh, yuck.
Needy's
It's just the
contemptible.
ick to women.
It's contemptible.
So you just have to be the dominant man, be the leader, and don't seek her approval. It's your life adventure. She has to come along with you on your adventure. You're not serving her adventure. This is all, again, frame control.
So White Claws has a comment I want to address because it's a question. It's a good one. If you lose respect, how do you get it back? Or is it too late once you lose it? White Claws, unfortunately, I have some bad news. Once it's gone, it's gone. Women do not give it back. I have seen men try to get it back. The entire marriage counseling industry is based around the idea that you can get it back. It is a fraud. It is a scam. Go ahead.
I do want to say signs of disrespect versus continual disrespect. It could be a massive shit test.
Yes. I'm not. Yeah, right. I'm
But if
not
it's already
trying to.
contempt, if it's already contempt, I've never seen it go back.
Right. You know, like you will have to learn how to discern shit test from actual ongoing contempt. But I think White Claw's question, talking about loss of respect, if you, the man, recognize that she's lost respect, at that point, it is too far gone.
You know
Because
what?
this is what I said in response.
Yes, I agree with you.
You cannot fix you. You cannot fix
You can never, ever, ever, ever earn her respect, because now you're serving her.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to do something to cause an impact in her.
Yes.
If she loses respect, can she come back to respect? Well, I haven't seen it happen, but I'll say theoretically, yes, maybe. She doesn't have contempt, but what it means is you have to go your own way and stop serving her. Do your own thing. Be your own man. Dismiss her.
Make her choose you again.
And yes, it might happen. Don't hold your breath, though.
I've had to tell men this offline when I'm talking to them about their relationships. I said, look, yes, you can do this, but 99% of the time she's just going to look at you and she's going to go, "You finally, he got it," and actually watch and walk. Okay, that's
you cannot get the outcome you want. No, stop. Go do your own thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the right path.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot make a woman perform to what you want. Yes, you know what? That's the essence of she's not yours, it's only your turn. Okay. It's a temporary thing. You are not serving the woman. You are doing your own thing. You are your own man. And if she chooses to follow you, that's her choice. When she chooses not to follow you,
It's
well,
her choice.
Yeah.
it's no longer your turn.
As I said, there's frame, dread, outcome, independence, depending on the level of disrespect, if it's ongoing or into contempt. But like you said, you cannot make them into what you want them to be. You cannot fix them. But what you can do is yourself and have your bags ready.
And there's so many men who and look, guys, I understand men fix things.
Hmm.
We
want
are
to.
yeah, we're natural born fixers. And when we have to tell men that they cannot fix the women, that almost more than anything, when I've had to talk to men about this, that's what they rebel against. The idea that they cannot fix their wife. That they can't make her come around. And I have to look at them and say, and that is why you will fail. You cannot accept that you can't fix her. You can't
Mhm.
make her into what you want her to be. And so she's going to leave. And because what you'll see a lot of times is you give the advice like Steve said, go your own way, do your own thing, be your own man, have your own adventure. And they'll do that for a while. And she comes back because it wasn't so broken that she couldn't choose. And then he immediately stops doing that, goes back to serving her, and she leaves. And she doesn't come back the second time because what you do when you go back to her is you confirm her initial assessment that led her to leave, that you are a weak man without frame and that she was right to leave. And now she has contempt for you, but also herself for believing your change. You have
The change wasn't real. The
Right.
change didn't
And
happen that she
now
wanted
she
to happen.
hates
Yeah.
you because you bamboozled her.
Yes.
And that's a lot of the hate for the red pill comes from that. It comes from the guy who starts to do the right thing,
Mm.
gets her to come back, and then gives up doing the right thing. And now they're like, oh, those red pill guys, they just teach men this and that. Because
Well, she could be just shit testing, you know,
no,
when we
not
no.
at this stage.
Well, look, if a guy, let's look at a married couple, for example, right? A woman decides to leave her husband because he is a
No,
total
what-
simp, and
no,
he's
we're-
watching.
No,
Then he
he hasn't internalized the truth.
Right. He
He
hasn't.
is not.
We're past the point with shit testing her. She's giving him an opportunity to prove that he really has changed to become the man that she thinks he is. There's no shit. I mean, yes, there's shit tests, but the moment he gives up frame again, she's done. She's out. And so the shit testing never ends. It just changes. But understand that there's a bigger thing that she is now focused on, and that's the fact that he was simping before. He changed his direction, but then the moment that she comes back, he changes back to simping. No, she's done. She's out. There,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
That's-
treated
women.
He treated it was just a flesh. The red pill is only just for a flesh wound, apparently.
Women they reacted very strongly when the pickup artist teaching became prevalent. Oh man, were the women just afraid and gnashing and trashing on that? Why? They had no problem about a natural, the guy who just had it using that. But they're teaching these other men how to do this. They're faking it. They're not a real alpha. They're now a fake alpha, and they don't want the fake dominant. They want the real thing. And so she's always got this innate sense. Is he real or is he just faking it?
I have, and you guys have seen this in women who react to red pill guys, particularly in the more high volume reactions, the shrill reactions. Women hate almost more than they hate red pill guys. They hate fake red pill guys
Yes.
because they have correctly determined that those guys are lying about it.
Mhm.
Okay. Not only are they doing something, women don't like dominant men, like the feminists don't like dominant men, but then they find out that there's guys who are faking being dominant men. Oh, goodness gracious, is that contemptible to them? Because they can respect a guy who's honest in his dominance, right? It's like, I don't agree with him, but he's the real deal. And yeah, I still kind of want to fuck him because I'm a woman and he gets my tingles going. Okay. But when they find out that you were faking it, that it wasn't real, oh my God, do they come down on you like. And so what's happened then is the feminists have all collectively decided that all red pill men are faking it.
A lot of them do. A lot,
Well,
but
because
not all.
part of the red pill guidance is to fake it until you make it. So
yeah.
now
I'm also having a problem with that one, honestly, because it's like most men are never
all
going to
women-
make
You
it.
have to start
All-
somewhere. You have to start somewhere.
True,
So-
true. I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay, so for the guys, we're just looking at this practically. We're saying, look, you've got to start somewhere, and you don't have this naturally, and you've got to start somewhere. Okay, great. Okay, the women look at this and go, "How dare you lie to me about who you are?" Okay, I want an honest, dominant, masculine man. You presented that way, but now I'm finding out you're not. You lied to me about who you are, and I had tingles for a different man, and you're not that man. I mean, can you hear it in my voice how I'm kind of spinning up how they do? Right. Have I heard this before?
And what about the masks
Yeah.
they wear? You take the makeup off. Who are they the next morning?
Okay, guys, you have to. If you don't have it naturally, you have to fake it till you make it. You have to get the experience. When you go into training on a martial art, you get you can be kind of competent, but then you need to have core competence. In order, you can have mind memory, but then you need muscle memory in order to just do the move without thinking about it. If you've trained in martial arts, you understand that concept. That is, you have to practice it till it becomes part of you. Doesn't mean it's fake, but do not let her know that you're trying to learn this, that you're uncertain. Whatever you do with confidence and unapologetically. I mean, be moral, obviously. I'm not
don't tell it
advocating
to
being immoral. Don't let her know that you're
Yeah.
insecure about what you're doing.
Well,
Or
and-
that
and-
you are even doing it, because a lot of women will say, "Oh, those red pill guys."
Oh, yeah. Well, the other thing is look, man, when you get on the red pill path, okay, it's a lifetime commitment. And I think a lot of men look at the ease with which some men practice this path and they go, oh, this isn't that hard. And then they get on it and they find out just how hard it is. And they go, oh, wow, you mean I have to keep this up for the rest of my life? And they go, you know what? That's a lot of work. And what I would say to those men is, look, the guys who you're idolizing out here who make it look easy, they make it look easy because in the biological system, there is a percentage of men for whom this comes naturally. Okay. They never had to learn how to do this. They were always dominant framed from the moment they figured out how to speak. Okay. Don't take their, and the other thing I would say is, don't take their apparent ease at it to mean that they are, and not all of them who are apparently good at it are actually natural dominant men. I have met plenty of guys who it turns out they were just really good at studying and practicing, and they made these lessons core parts of their personality. Steve, you were talking about core competency. If you can get to the point where the red pill is your muscle memory, where you don't even have to think about it when she shit tests you, Elena will tell you this.
Mhm.
I don't think about it much anymore when she shit tests me. Okay. Sometimes it's fun to think of a funny response. You know, sometimes it's fun to stop and think about, how can I have fun with this? I can respond this way or that way, right? So you stop it and you play with it in your head for a little bit, right? But for the most part, you just swat it aside. Look, that's the level you have to get with this in order to succeed. Whether or not you come
Wait a
by it
minute
naturally or
here.
not doesn't matter.
I thought the red pill was just a gas station. You know, when you're down and your tank is empty, you pull into the red pill, you fill up with some bravado, and it's your gas station, and then you get what you learn, get what you need, and you move on with your life.
The truth is not a
Sounds
gas
like-
station. Truth is not a gas station.
The truth is true no matter where you are in life.
Right.
The lessons, one of the things that I have found to be very helpful and this is not just true in the red pill, is I keep men around me so, you know, I work in the computer industry. Okay. I have friends who I'm constantly talking to about all sorts of things in my career space. Okay. And these men, they challenge me. They correct me. Right. There's one group that I've been talking to for 14 years now. Same group of guys, 14 years. And next week I'm going to go do it again. And the month after that, I'm going to do it again. Okay. I keep men around me at all times who practice in the same spaces that I practice in. Why? It is the only way to stay sharp. It is the only way to learn new techniques and learn, you know, things that you're not paying attention to. This idea that we can just pull into the gas station, fill up, and go about our merry way is a great way to lose. You will
Really?
lose. You will lose
Did this
her.
happen? Did this?
Well, if you
Didn't
treat
this-
it like a gas station, it doesn't require to have frame. You're not required to have
Correct.
frame.
You pull in, get what you need, and get out of that space. You know, back when the core ideas were still being hashed out, discussed, and some stuff was being discarded. I met my ex in 2010. I didn't stop reading it then, but I slowed down because we were both in the church, and the church had its program for how I was
Mhm.
supposed to do things.
Right.
2012, we got married. Then I completely stopped with the red pill. 2014, I got divorced. And oh boy, you bet your ass I went straight back to the red pill stuff because I realized that the church was wrong to the point where many of them were outright lying about what the Bible had actually said. Okay. And I went, if the church is going to lie to me, then maybe these other guys over here are not lying to me. And I kept reading. And of course, you know, this is 2014, 6 years later. Of course, now we are in the manosphere era with, you know, many of the ideas being actually written down and agreed. And I went, aha, these guys have it right. This is what happens when you leave.
Hey, you know
You
what?
get bamboozled.
Maybe the red pill is a gas station. But you know what? I have to gas up my car once a week, once every 2 weeks. I have to keep going back to the gas station. And if I don't, I'm going to run out of gas, become stranded, and all kinds of bad things are going to happen to me.
So the that's an interesting point. You go to the gas station all the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
you do.
You do, yeah.
There you go, guys. Okay, the red pill. Okay, fine. We'll agree that the red pill's a gas station, and if you get too far away from it for very long, you're gonna get stranded and in a ditch somewhere. Congratulations. So, but it goes back. It goes back to what I was saying about my friends in the computer space. I hang out with them. I actually talk to them on Discord all the time, but I hang out with them in real life once a month. So I have multiple levels of interaction. Obviously, we're not hanging out every night because we have lives, but I have a men's space in my career space that I can go to. Okay, some of these guys I have had to walk through their divorces with them. I had to do one here recently. Was not fun. I don't enjoy this. But at least we have it.
Yeah. Well, let's continue.
Mm-hmm.
We have
See if we can
3
finish
minutes
this
left.
Look, can we just slay it
Segueing a
through
little
so we
bit,
can
I
say
think
we
we talked
finished?
about the red pill. This particular question even mentioned the Fresh and Fit podcast. I think you could put Andrew Tate into a similar kind of thing. Well, one of the ways I frame that, and you and I talk about this so much, is the notion of the psychological shadow, Jung's shadow self. And part of what they've done is they've gone and just set up camp to live in the shadow. We talk about the king archetype and the archetype of the king, which is in the Lord of the Rings trilogy is Aragorn when he finally returns. The Return of the King is the name of the third book. Or in The Lion King is Mufasa. And the notion there is the king carves out his kingdom from the wild and establishes a right order. And within that order, because he is able to enforce justice, people are allowed to flourish and become fertile. And the land is fertile and there is peace and order. And yet the order is not rigid. He also has the king's mercy. He also has the ability to allow people to flourish because he is not rigid in enforcing that order. When the order becomes overly rigid, it falls into the shadow of the tyrant who must enforce order and is not doing so for the benefit of the people, but purely selfishly for his own benefit. And that's the Andrew Tate. That's the red pill movement. The reason it is a
Oh,
No.
yeah.
Gosh.
Jesus.
Nick, you got
The concept-
something to say.
Look, hierarchy's good. The concept he gave was great, but then he just comes back and starts attacking the red pill again. It's like, yeah, can guys be a tyrant in the red pill? Yeah. Can they also not be? Yeah. Just because you're red pill
Okay.
doesn't mean you're going to be one or the other.
It's a fucking straw man. And it just pisses me off when someone erects a straw man. He's saying the red pill is Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate is about being a tyrant. Therefore, the red pill is being about tyrant, advocating being a tyrant, and is wrong. Bullshit.
It's so tiresome.
But-
It's so tiresome.
Okay. Earlier on, 30 seconds before that, he mentioned the leader, the king.
Yeah.
There's mercy. That's patriarchy, folks.
Yeah. That's
The patriarchy is the leader, but the patriarch has mercy. He's not a tyrant. The red pill does nowhere advocate being a tyrant. Well, maybe Andrew Tate. I don't know. I don't advocate that. A man needs to have mercy.
Well, they are saying that they are the ones who they are trying to compete with the purity contest, I think, here. So they are they are better than the red pill guys.
No, what they're trying to say is that their form of tit for tat equality of values is better than a tyrancy. I would argue that that's just the tyranny of equality, which I think all of the world is busy trying to prove is actually a tyranny. Equality is it's a form of tyranny. What I would say to these guys on this is, I am going to take a couple names in the red pill because I have actually met Thor in person. And a lot of people would say, "Oh, he's a this, he's a that." The one thing Thor is not is a tyrant. He has a very large dominant masculine presence. He
Oh,
writes
yeah.
about it all the time.
Mhm.
But I have met his wife. She is not a subjugated woman like that. Yeah, there you go, Nick. There you go. He is not a tyrant over her. And Thor has written much about the community, and contributed much to the dialogue of the red pill space. So fine, you want to hold up Andrew Tate because he's making the most waves on Twitter. Fine, that's great. All you're really demonstrating is that you don't know what the red pill is. Again,
Well, they didn't do enough homework. They didn't look into other content creators. They see, and this is the
Don't
problem.
think they care. I don't
Yeah.
think
I
they
don't
really
think
even
they care to. Yeah, they see what's popular, what's flashing, what's on the mainstream, and then they will take that and run with it. Oh, that's the red pill. Oh, okay.
Well, feminists do this too. The feminists
Mhm.
hate Tate just as much, or they hate Tate more than these guys do. But what they're also showing, you can kind of tell where some people sit on the feminism scale by who they talk about as not liking. I have a feeling that if we were to get into it with these guys, we'd find, and we've heard other things
They're
they say that
egalitarians. They're
Yeah,
egalitarians.
they're egalitarians, which is a feminist leaning movement. So
Okay. I'll accept that. But they're also advocates of BDSM. Okay, which is, you can view it as an artificial dynamic, kind of playtime. Okay, that a certain perspective, yeah, it's not reality, but it's half true. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. But saying the red pill is about tyranny is not true. And I have not met Thor. I've talked with him. Here's my perception. He has that kingly presence. He is a good teacher.
Mhm.
He wants
Yep.
to teach others.
Yep.
A man, okay, he's not Christian. I'm Christian. Okay, we don't agree on everything. Great, fine.
Yep.
But he couldn't do what he's doing if he was not a man who understood mercy.
yes,
And that makes him a good, worthy leader and someone that I can learn from. He's kind of integrated without being Christian. He's integrated dominance and mercy and provided that true archetype of the king.
yeah, I agree with that. I don't agree with him on everything, but I respect him. I will have a conversation when he calls up. I will sit down and I will listen respectfully when he's speaking. And sometimes I have to go, you know what? I don't like it, but you're right. Because, there's certain truths that Christians are going to be uncomfortable with. I mean, we've talked about that quite a bit.
Mhm.
The Resurgence did a whole video on the descriptions are the problem, right? And that applies to us a little bit too. We part of what we're doing is we're trying to wrestle with these truths. So, but trying to say that Tate is the red pill, no.
No, it's not.
Tate actually came into the red pill way late, recognized that I'm not saying Tate's stupid. He's actually very smart, but he came in late, recognized there was something he could work with in his, that he knew how to work with, and he took it and ran with it. I respect it, but no, Tate is not the red pill. Tate is not the manosphere. Rollo, Rich Cooper, Dalrock, Pook, Royce. Some of those guys I disagree with how they do it, but they are way closer to the red pill than Tate is. They helped define a bunch of it. Tate just wore it really well.
Mhm.
Okay, let's continue.
Yeah, let's finish it.
Appealing. The reason it captivates so many young men is because there is some truth in it. There is a need for men to have that tyrannical side in them, the ability to enforce order, the ability to enforce your will, to carve out your kingdom. That is true. But it must be balanced with the ability to be merciful. It must be integrated so that you overcome the need for mere power for power's sake. And once you can overcome that through the desire for flourishing, the desire to have other people flourish within the domain you have created, then you have integrated the king archetype, and they miss that entirely. They miss that the point of having power is not just to have the power. The point is, or to feel good that you are so powerful. It's to have the power to promote other people's flourishing.
Okay. Straw man. They miss that entirely. The red pill misses that entirely. They're all about tyranny. Go fuck yourself. No. No. Men want all men. Okay. When they were teaching pickup artistry, why did most men go and learn about this? Because they want to find a woman. They want to gain the skills so they can find one woman, wife her up, have children, have permanence, and form a legacy. It was not about tyranny. To claim that the red pill advocates tyranny is complete, utter bullshit.
Well,
and
Steve,
it's a
now,
straw man.
why do they do it? What are the intentions? Like, why do they want to prescribe red pill as a tyranny? Because it makes them look good in front of the feminists.
No. Never attribute to malice what can be is as easily attributed to ignorance. I don't think these guys are. There are people out there who trash red pill for clout, sure, but you're gonna know who they are because they always have money behind them. Okay. All I've heard so far is a couple of men who understand women at a deeper level than most men do, but they see, but they're not. Remember, they're not part of the red pill community. They're in the BDSM community. Now, in order to be in that community, there are certain truths about women you have to understand. Okay. But all they see of the red pill is the version of it that's presented to the world by the people who don't like the red pill. And okay, Tacticus. Okay. They confuse might makes right or exploited authority versus genuine earned and desired authority. Yeah, and I would say a lot of people do. And that the reason I brought this comment up is because it ties back to what I was making. There is a large straw man out there that the red pill is all about might makes right and exploited authority. Again, there are people in the red pill who absolutely do this. Andrew, like they have picked the correct target for their straw man. Okay. Andrew Tate, he is a might makes right fellow. That does not mean that that's all of what the red pill preaches and practices. So what they're betraying here is that they're not part of the red pill community and they haven't really spent time in studying the space to make a good criticism. They're borrowing other people's criticisms.
It's just shallow. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you don't know the space anything well enough to make a criticism, you have two choices: say nothing or borrow criticism. Most people would be better served saying nothing, but
Okay. We have 35 seconds left to listen. You
Let's
think
finish.
we can make it through this 35 seconds
I
without
think so.
interrupting it? Let's find out.
And to establish order for them. And I think that is one of the one of the problems is that it's so captivating because there's a grain of truth. And it's a grain of truth that we are sorely missing, is that young men need to be able to become the king, and that requires a bit of tyranny. You have to be able to lay down the law. You have to be able to put your foot down. You have to be able to enforce your boundaries and your borders and enforce the rules that you set. But also, there has to be wisdom there. It's the wise king archetype, and it has to be integrated to a higher purpose.
If one of your
Okay,
resolutions this year
that's
is to
done.
improve the health of your brain, your
Okay.
So
we made it.
yeah, they keep saying tyranny. You have to have a little tyranny, and then do they not
Yeah,
understand
and then
what
they are
is
criticizing
the use
tyranny.
of power wrong? No, that's not tyranny.
Can you okay.
Again, Nick, this goes back to what I was saying before. They
Do
have
they
a
not
shallow
understand terms?
Yeah, they have a shallow understanding. And understand that that term tyranny is a borrowed term. They got it from somewhere else. Okay? Very likely they got it from some source on the anti-red pill side of the conversation, because that's an anti-red pill term. Well, you're a tyrant, you're a dictator. You just want to tell women what to do and how to do it, and you know.
Yeah,
how
but
many
then
times-
in his last sentence, he was saying that you need to have some
The
tyranny.
king needs to have tyranny.
No,
No,
Again.
that's
no,
not
you
tyranny.
don't.
Elena,
Okay,
It's
Elena,
valid use
let
of
me
authority.
explain this.
Yeah.
Back in the 10, 15 years ago in
Semantic
the red pill,
salad. Yes, I agree.
there was an argument, discussion that came from the evangelicals. Oh, there's good lust and bad lust. No, there's no. Desire, physical desire is not lust.
Right.
You can have great physical desire. As a man, you can get an erection when you see that woman. That doesn't make it lustful. There is no such thing as good lust. Okay, in the same manner, tyranny. We have good tyranny and bad tyranny. A little bit of tyranny is good. Too much is bad. No, bullshit.
Right.
Tyranny is
Mhm.
not good
Yes.
because tyranny is the absence of mercy.
Yes.
Dominance is leadership. You can exhibit leadership with mercy, which is never tyranny. Now, we're all fallen, man. Have we erred and
We make
become
mistakes.
many tyrants at times?
Yes.
Yes.
Have I lusted instead of
Yes.
just genuine physical desire? Yes. That doesn't make any kind of that behavior good lust. That doesn't make anything good tyranny.
Okay, so then I have a question for you. Is there such a thing as evil patriarchy versus good patriarchy?
Nope. There's just
Yes
patriarchy.
and no.
Well,
Well, you could say, as according to the term, it's father rule. You can have bad fathers and you can have good fathers, but the order itself is good. Father rule,
right.
you know,
Well, which is why I don't.
hierarchically speaking, is good. You know?
Right. Which is why I don't. Which is why I think using the term good patriarchy versus bad patriarchy is a seductive misuse of the term. It's seductive because there are good fathers and bad fathers. There's not
Right.
as many bad fathers as we tell ourselves there are,
Mhm.
but by labeling it's an attempt to shift it's a narrative redirection. They don't want to talk about the bad fathers versus the good fathers, because then they would have to admit that there are good fathers. Okay. If they can talk about patriarchy, which is a more abstract concept for most people, then they can say, oh, well, yeah, there's good patriarchy, but we need to talk about the evil patriarchy. And they can get you to sideline the good patriarchy aspect of it. No, there is patriarchy, of which there are good fathers and bad fathers. There's patriarchy, good fathers, bad fathers. That's it. They don't want to have that conversation because they don't want to talk about all the good fathers. Right.
Same.
Yeah. Tacticus is right here.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's a
Hey.
conflation of the mechanism of patriarchy versus the leadership of the male figure. Exactly.
Okay. Male dominance is good. Dominance is good. It's the natural order. Now, what happens when you add tyranny in with dominance? Instead of a dominant man, he becomes a domineering man. That's tyranny with dominance. That's a bad practice. But a dominant man has leadership and mercy. He understands his authority and he uses it properly. He understands his responsibility. And the man has to operate under moral principles because he's accountable to God in the hierarchy. Not accountable to his wife. He's accountable to God. And, I'm talking loosely here. His wife
No, the Bible speaks about that.
to him, through him to God. If he tells, okay, she's supposed to submit to him in everything. Okay, let's just kind of talk about that. What is everything? Well, the feminist says, well, unless he's leading me to sin. Well, yeah, kind of. If it's grave sin, okay, yeah, right. You don't have to follow him. If it's a matter of debate, you know what? Obey him. Because ultimately, if you sin because he told you to sin, it's not on you, it's on him. And he's responsible to God. And it's the same way in the military.
Yep.
Does when an officer issues a command, everybody's thinking, gee, was this a wise thing to do? Well, is this totally ethical and moral? Oh, I have this little quibble about, I don't think I should do it.
No.
No.
Unless it's blatant. Unless it's like a blatant, serious thing. No. Just
Right.
Yeah.
Right. In the military, there's a concept of illegal orders. And they actually, in training, in basic training, they actually go through what an illegal order is. It's a very short list.
Yeah.
The default assumption is that an order given to you is legal. Yes, there are illegal orders. Most of your orders, in fact, if your leaders are properly leading, none of your orders given to you will be illegal.
But how will women know that a man is properly
Oh, it's
leading?
not that hard. It's not that hard.
I know, but they make it sound like,
Okay, 10
without-
commandments, right?
Mhm.
You have the 10 commandments, right? Oh, you need to go pray to, you're a Christian. Oh, go pray to Buddha or whatever. No, obviously no, right? Oh, you need to curse your father. No. Oh, you need to steal. No, you need to unalive someone. Obviously no. It's not that hard.
Just, okay, here's my advice. Do what he says, but say this. Okay, I will obey you, but you understand that if you're wrong, you are accountable to God and not me. Because I'm doing what God commanded me to obey my husband. Make sure he understands his responsibility for your actions. That's what an officer, that's really the unspoken understanding of officers in the military. They understand that. And if you don't think your husband understands that, tell him. Then follow what he says. And if he's wrong, it's not on you, it's on him.
Steve, I have a fun little story that I read yesterday about this. Back in the late 1970s, the USS Nimitz was coming back into port, and they were docking in San Francisco. Notoriously hard bit of navigation to do to get under the Golden Gate Bridge. And as they're going under the bridge, this big ship, it grinds to a halt right under the bridge. And the and of course all the sailors are lining the decks and, doing their lookout duties. And the captain, he's in his dress whites. And then as the ship grinds to a halt, you see his dress whites go flying over the rail. Because he already knew that by running his ship aground, He was the one that the Navy was going to hold accountable, not the men, not the guys actually doing the steering of the ship, not the guys at the rail looking out. The ultimate responsibility was on the captain. You know, we have that expression, you're the captain of your ship. Yeah, guess what? You run the ship aground. It is not the responsibility of the people on the ship. I mean, you could say, oh, well, this person should have said this or that. You can say that, but ultimately, you are the captain of the ship. And I thought it was interesting because this guy recognized immediately, so quickly, that he literally just took off his dress whites, threw him overboard, because he knew that the moment they got the ship unstuck, the Navy was going to fire him. And they did.
So, ladies, do you want to be responsible before God for your actions, for your disobedience of your husband? You want to take that risk? Because you are accountable. God's not going to let you out of it. Or you just want to obey, follow his commands, don't give any pushback, and then the responsibility is on him. You dumb women, in your idiocy and avoidance of responsibility, actually take on more responsibility and culpability on yourselves. I don't think that's wise, but you know, you have free will. If you want to be responsible, go ahead and be disobedient and rebellious.
If you have, to all you single ladies out there, if you have no man to be to be responsible to, or to take that responsibility, guess what? And even in the Bible, you would be held responsible for your own actions. Even in history, before, so you know, we've talked about, oh, you know, women can do all this and that. Right? It was the 1970s when women could finally be held accountable for their financial debts. Up until then, it would have been a man who was responsible for your debt. Okay. You can be single. Okay, ladies, you can be single. You now become responsible for every aspect of your life. And that has been true since long before the feminist movement came about. The single ladies, Tacticus, exactly. Strong, independent responsibility.
I love this. I love this.
Right. Exactly. You can have that. Or you can get a man. And yeah, he might not be the best man out there. Guess what? None of us are Jesus. None of us men out here. And we also did an episode on Jesus is my boyfriend. No, he's not. That's heresy at a minimum. Okay. You know, like, and you can have somebody to, I'll use the Christian word. You can have somebody to redeem that responsibility for you. Or you can take it on your own. You have always had that choice. Even in history, you've always had that choice before feminism. Feminism did not give you that choice.
Yeah.
Feminism told you that it was giving you that choice. But like all evils and creations of the devil, that's a lie. You've always had that choice. It just didn't make it a very smart choice for you. And now you're
so.
Go ahead.
This dynamic. Why would a man accept this responsibility and this burden to lead and be responsible for his wife? Why would he be willing to give up his life? Why did men go and work in dangerous jobs in the coal mine and risk their life and their health and die, you know, a couple of years, die at an early age? Why do men do this and accept all this responsibility?
Well, wife, kids, and so it's a legacy. and companionship and legacy, I guess. Two primary. There's more, but
Because you have a simpler answer. Because this is the way God made me.
right.
God made me with broad shoulders, with strong muscles, to be able to
Testosterone.
use my force and to bear heavy burdens and to do the job. He made me to work and provide and lead. This is my nature.
Mhm.
Why would men do this? They're just acting on their nature. No,
Right.
wrong. If we use our nature wrongly, we become tyrants. Yeah, okay. But most men, the vast majority of men, act according to their nature. Even if they don't understand the truth and are not Christian, they're still acting according to their nature. Yeah, a good, percentage, I don't know, 10, 20, 30% act wrongly. The vast majority are probably trustworthy. And it doesn't, even then, what about if he's just an average guy? Should you follow him? Well, you know what? He's still responsible before God. So, do you want to usurp the leadership of your man and belittle him and assume the responsibility before God? I don't think that's wise. Men were made to lead and to bear the burden. Women were not made to lead and bear the heavy burden. And it destroys them. That's my observation.
So would you say that women who use their nature wrong, they become the strong, independent? I want to say three or four.
They don't. They think they do, but usually
Yeah.
their debts are rather high. They're not strong. They're miserable, and they usually don't end up being independent unless they're single cat lady.
But even
But
then,
they're
they are
actually
dependent. Like this idea of
well, if they get a
independence,
kid later, they're usually they milk the child support system
child
to
support.
support their
Yeah,
lifestyle. Yeah.
they are still dependent either on the simp army. We see
hmm
a lot of these chicks who are single only, and then all they do is just milk the simps online, and they are still relying on something. It's like this whole idea of independence, total independence for women. It's just bullshit. There is no such thing as independence.
Well, even amongst men, but to a lesser extent, we're not made to be independent of one another. We're made to complement one another. Yet, man is the one who's able to basically make out a home and flourish and build a civilization. Women don't do that. They come alongside so that they can let the civilization continue for the next generations with bearing of children and maintaining the home. What I was going to say is even men, we're not completely independent in that we realize we need one another. You can't build civilization by yourself alone in the wilderness.
This was known in the old red pill.
No.
You guys know the name Athol K?
Yeah. Married man sex
Okay.
life primer. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. His model was captain, first officer. Going back to the military, the naval thing, does the first officer just do whatever the captain says? Well, yeah.
Most of the time.
But is the first officer, is it part of his job to disagree or provide good counsel? Well, have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? Here's what I think. Let's discuss this. And then ultimately, the decision is made by the captain. But the first officer, part of their role is being good counsel. That's part of a wife's role to the husband. She's the first officer. That doesn't mean she's the grunt. That means he should be listening to her, seeking her counsel, her insight, but ultimately he does not get to vote. It's not a democracy. He gets to make the decision.
Hey, Elena,
Hmm.
do I listen to you?
Yeah.
Do I always do what you say?
No.
That's pretty much exactly what Steve is describing. And the reason I asked her, guys, is because you needed to hear that from her. Okay? I don't always do what she says. Now, occasionally she notices things that I thinks of things that I didn't think of. That does get rolled into the decision making process, right? Doesn't necessarily change the outcome of the decision. A lot of times what it does is, oh, that's another thing I need to consider as I'm executing this decision.
Has it ever happened that you had an opinion, she provides her counsel, and you say, yeah, I think you're right.
Yes,
We'll
it
do-
is.
Yep.
Doesn't
Yep,
happen
we'll
very
go
often.
that way. But it does.
Yeah.
It's still, I mean, that's your job to provide that. And yeah, a good man is going to think about that and say, yeah, you know what? She's right on this one. Let's do that. And why does he do that? He needs to understand he's responsible. And so he needs to set aside his pride and do the right thing.
Now, if there's one thing where I would agree with these guys a little bit that in the video we were watching is there is a strain of the red pill that can get a little too prideful. They can get a little too in their heads about how good they are. Guys, you're probably not that good. And I'm not saying I'm good. Elena has stories of mistakes I've made. There's some that she loves to tell. No, she's not going to tell. But you can see them dancing through her eyes right now.
I'll remember them for the rest of my life.
Exactly.
That's a woman for you.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Now, but what does she also say? It doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
Okay. It's because I'm not so prideful that I can't listen to what other people have to say. She will tell you that I talk to my dad a lot about all sorts of things. I talk to other men a lot. I talk to her a lot. I am constantly listening to what other people's opinions, but I recognize that they are just opinions and that I am ultimately responsible for the decisions I make. Okay? That is what that is what true patriarchal leadership looks like. Yes, you're accountable for your own decisions. That means that you're going to end up making a lot of decisions that somebody disagrees with, including your wife.
Oh, yes.
That's okay. It's okay. I disagree with my dad on things too. Guess what? I'm still ultimately responsible for the decisions I make. And yeah, there's some I wish I could have back. Let's talk about my first divorce, right? Like all men have made decisions we wish we could have back.
Guys, but when it goes wrong, who's responsible?
Oh,
who has to pick up the pieces and fix it?
Hi. We do. Us men do. It's just the natural order of things, guys. It's just your that is your load to bear in life. Just accept it.
Yeah.
So let's do concluding statements here.
I'll go. You hear how they constantly don't understand the red pill. You will see this everywhere. And the problem is not just the prescriptions, it is the descriptions. Also, yes, A good rule, a good hierarchy, right? Hierarchy is good. Men should be dominant. They should not be, as Steve said earlier, domineering. Yes, you should be a merciful king who wields authority and power. I'm good.
You know, the truth comes out in the strangest of places. And I think it's because in order to succeed in some of these places, you absolutely have to have the truth. Like there's just no way to succeed and get to the point where you can talk about how to succeed in something without the truth coming out. But, you know, particularly towards the end of the video, I think we can all agree that just because somebody has a piece of the truth does not mean they have all of the truth.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I would tell men is even inside the red pill, no one man has all the answers for you. There's a reason there's 3 of us on your screen. I do not have all the answers. Steve does not have all the answers. Nick does not have all the answers. Right?
Nope.
Although if you put the 3 of us together and we hash stuff out, the 3 of us will get closer than most. And even then, we're going to be talking about what other men have said, like we talked about Thor extensively today. If you're in the red pill, my advice to you would be, and you've just joined, and you know maybe you just had your teeth kicked in by your now ex-wife. Don't fixate on any one content creator.
Mm-hmm.
All of them bring a piece to the table. When I joined this current iteration, I read lots of people. I watched lots of different videos. Kevin Samuels, rest in peace, all the way to Rollo. They're very different mentalities and mindsets, but each had something to bring to the table. If you go around saying, well, Donovan Sharp said this and he disagreed with Rollo about that, all you're doing is feminist shit stirring. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's female behavior to come in and try and stir up controversy in between these different creators. Coach Greg Adams did a fantastic video on this a few weeks ago, talking about what killed the red pill. It's the feminist shit stirring between creators. And I know you guys in the chat love the controversy and the drama. And the chats share a little, the various chat channels share a little bit of culpability in what's happened to the red pill because they've encouraged this through their super chats and through their watch hours that they give to the creators. You are signaling what you want, and you're stunting.
Feminist short-term thinking. Sorry.
Yeah, no, well, it is. That's why I called it feminist shit stirring.
Well, we actually have very good chat. You know, you guys on your channel, and I have very good chat that you guys don't stir shit.
Well, we the 3 of us refuse to stir shit.
Yeah.
No,
I mean our audience, the guys who are watching us right now.
Right. So, but my point here is that learn and be willing to learn from people who are not on the red pill. Like we agreed with some of what these guys in this video said. We disagreed with some of what they said. That is how men have conversation. This running back and forth and, this person said this. What do you think about that? That's feminism. That's how feminism operates. That's how feminism destroys. Knock it off. You're better than that.
Yeah, okay. So dominant men are a good thing. How do we know? Go back to Genesis. God created man first, gave him dominion. Dominion, wow, that's dominance. He named all the animals. He was in charge of the garden. He was the dominant. He was the leader. Dominance is good. It's masculine. It's essential. And then, this fall thing happened. He kind of gave up his dominance for a little bit and listened to his wife. Made the wrong decision. Okay. Then he was responsible for that, held responsible, so kicked out of the garden. Okay, made the wrong decision. But after that, okay, nowhere in the Bible did it create woman to be man's equal, to be a partnership, to have equal authority and responsibility. It just is not there. So this modern idea that feminism tends to totally equate any kind of male dominance with evil, that's bullshit. And it leads to disaster. So, men, recognize that you are dominant. Learn how to be a good patriarch, the master of your wife, children, your world. It's your life. He has to come along on your adventure and be a good leader with mercy. And then, and only when you're practicing that, can you hope to have her submission. Now, is this a guarantee that you won't get divorced? No. Hell no. There are no guarantees. Just because there's no guarantee doesn't mean that it's the wrong thing to do.
I wish there were more guarantees in life. Make it a lot easier.
So, Elena, you're back in charge. You get to end the stream whenever you're ready.
I'm in charge.
Butter,
Okay.
butter, butter.
I know, right? After picking on me for the whole stream, I'm back in charge. Wow. Well, that was an interesting conversation, guys. I really enjoyed it. I want to say to women that ladies be submissive, but then again, it doesn't work with simps. It only works with dominant masculine men. So yeah, stop begging for these simps. This is what I see online, you know. Whenever you watch women, usually single women, asking for simps, it's like they don't realize what they are asking for.
No, women. No, I don't focus too much on the women because they have no idea.
I
And
know.
you just walk away. If they're not going to get it, and you can't spur explain it to them.
Yeah, I know. I wish it was that simple, and I tried. I mean, I did try. I tried to get more fitness instructors to tell people the truth that obesity and overweight is not healthy for people, but you know, they told me quite literally to go pound sand with your red pill nonsense.
Okay, move on.
I know.
I've been saying that all week.
I know.
She still doesn't like it.
Well, it's because I realize how much damage this
That's not
people
something
create
you can.
for other people, you know.
That's not something you can fix. All
I
you can
know.
do is not do it yourself.
Well, I try not to do it myself.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, watch out for more shorts. I'm going to put more shorts, guys, and more clips for our previous videos. And then subscribe to our Rumble account in case YouTube decides it doesn't like us anymore for some reason. So we have a lot of content there on Rumble, and I'll be putting out more shorts and clips. Oh, and then also go subscribe to the Resurgence of Sanity YouTube channel. Hold on, I'm going to share the schedule. Here you go. On Wednesdays at 5:45 p.m. Pacific, join the guys on the Resurgence of Sanity for interesting conversations. What are you doing this week, guys?
So this week we're gonna do, or next week technically, we're
Uh-huh.
gonna do single mommy disasters.
Oh, wonderful topic. Wonderful. I'm so looking forward to it. I'll have to rewatch it because I'll be teaching, but I'll join you as soon as I'm done with the class.
I'm sure this one will run long because there's lots to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a prediction of what our topic is going to be next week, next Saturday.
Okay, what?
Because Elena always says, after the stream is done, what are we going to talk about next week? I don't know. And then if we don't come up with an idea, as the week goes on, she'll come at like Wednesday, Thursday. Steve, what are we going to talk about? And I'll suggest something and she'll say, oh, okay. Here's my suggestion. And she's going to go giddy when I say this.
Okay.
Why are so many women fat?
Oh, I love this one. I'll do. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Okay,
Steve,
I'll
the red
prepare-
meat is just
I'll
smoking
do my
over here.
homework. I'll
Now he's like,
prepare-
you're gonna make him keep dealing with this, aren't you?
Okay, why?
Have
Yeah.
mercy, Steve.
This is Steve making sure that I have a hell week next for the next 7 days.
I love this topic. It's straight into what I've been struggling to see. You're like a father to us, and I love you guys. Yes. Oh.
Steve, you're a horrible person.
This feels so good. I finally get to talk about something that really, really bothers me.
Yeah, there it is, right there.
Yeah, we'll have fun, guys. Join us next week. Today we only had 3 people sticking around with us. I don't know. Did you guys share the live stream? No.
Oh, sweetie, knock it off.
Okay. I know it's okay. Well, hopefully people will get out.
Tacticus, White Claws, Dr. V. Lots of people showed up today.
Yeah, I know, I know.
It's Saturday morning.
I know. Yeah, we usually start at 9:15 in the morning, guys. I know that some people show up later towards the middle of the stream. So
Hey, most streams, I don't want to be up this early.
yeah, I know. Well, we do it because of the schedule. We used to run it so early. Yeah, well, great topic for next week. I'm looking forward to it.
Steve,
Yeah,
you're still a horrible person.
I'll prepare some videos for
Oh,
us.
no.
Yes, we'll have fun next week. I have a lot of them in my bullshit folder on Instagram. So yeah, I'm going to share some of them. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining. Remember to please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Okay, take care, everyone. Bye.
Later.
Elena's Barre, the best place on the internet, the very best by far.